Hi, everyone. It's Caitlin Copley, host of Remodeling Reinvented. Today, I'm coming to you from Las Vegas at the Qualified Remodeler Top 500 Live Conference. So, before attending this conference, I was thinking about I wonder how many remodelers there are right now in the United States. So, after a bit of Googling, I figured out that there are over 128,187 residential remodeling firms in the United States. So each year, Qualified Remodeler magazine publishes a list of the top 500 remodelers nationwide. So that means these remodelers make up roughly the top 0.4% of the entire industry. And I wanted to share with you inside information about what's happening here and how it could affect you as a homeowner in the future. And it's something that I've noticed when interviewing some of our guests in the past about the importance of finding a company that has stable processes and solid communication and they're transparent. So it's really about how you can protect your investment and really doing your due diligence as a homeowner to find the right company for you. I'm going to bring you key takeaways from this conference, and I can't wait to share them with you. So, as a homeowner, you're going to have many choices of who you want to work with on your remodeling project. So, before investing in your project, it's really important to research the companies that you're speaking with and select a company with the systems and people and stability in order to protect your investment. During this conference, there was a chart that was shared with us from Qualified Remodeler, and it showed a 50% increase in remodeling companies since the year 2007. But since then, there's also been a huge amount of churn. So there have been new businesses starting, but also many that have closed or gone out of business. According to Qualified Remodeler, there 15% of remodelers go out of business every single year. So that would not be a good situation if, say, you are in the middle of your project with a company and they go out of business or can't pay their bills, and then you're stuck in the middle of a remodeling project. And you've heard a couple of our guests talk about those situations in the past. I know George had a good example, one of the project directors from Jackson Design and Remodeling, where there was the next door neighbor was working with a contractor and then they weren't able to pay their bills. Anyway, the homeowners had gone out of town. And when they went out of town, they stopped working on their home. And it turned out that that company went out of business. So that's not a situation you want to find yourself in. So all the sessions that I've been in this week have really focused on quality control and innovation and just the overall client experience and how can these remodelers be better for their clients and people they're working with. So, after hearing different leaders from a wide range of companies speak, it became really clear that most successful organizations share several key traits that I think drive their achievements and fuel their ongoing growth. And this got me thinking about the red flags homeowners should avoid when reviewing remodeling companies. But it also made me think about the green flags that show that you're on the right track. So I thought I would go through some of these red and green flags. And then I will also share a checklist that I think should help you get started when you're researching remodeling companies. So let's start by talking first about strong leadership and business stability. So, one of the green flags is when a business has long term ownership. And that means the owner of the company has been heavily involved and has created a clear plan for his or her team to help with managing the company. And there are clear roles for each of their employees. They also probably have documented their processes and have standard operating procedures for the way they do things. So that way, when new people come on board, it's a very smooth transition when they join the team. Say, if you have a project manager who leaves in the middle of your project, and then you have someone brand new and there's no processes in place. That could definitely interrupt your project and the smoothness of it. So a red flag on this could be there's no defined processes, maybe there's high staff turnover, or the organization has kind of a vague setup where maybe the people there, lots of them wear many hats and it's not really clear who does what. So it's really important when you're looking at these remodeling companies, check their About Us page on their website, meet as many people as you can from their team, and really get a sense of how their organization is laid out. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the design build process and also being consistent. So, a green flag could be having transparent steps, and they're a company who they guide their clients through the remodeling experience from start to finish. They also lay out their scope of work that lists clear milestones, and that comes down to how long the project is going to last, what payments they're responsible for, and when, all of the details that the project includes. So, what kind of tile you're going to choose and what materials go where. So, that should be laid out in a clear scope of work. A red flag could be we'll just figure that out as we go. Don't worry about that right now. We'll figure it out later. And they kind of put things on the back burner, and there's not really clear next steps for you. So, all of that should really be laid out for you ahead of time before even starting your construction, because you don't want to be caught in a situation where the walls in your home have been knocked down and they're still waiting on you to select a tile or flooring or cabinetry. That's not a good, smooth situation for you to be in. The next thing that a lot of these companies have in common and that makes them stable is also having the financial strength. So they can show to you as a homeowner how they forecast the costs and timelines, and also how they manage contingencies. There could be a situation that's an unforeseen issue, and an experienced remodeler will know maybe some common issues for your particular project ahead of time. Now, they can't always predict everything, but they should have a general idea of what are some common things that they could run into so they plan for it. Whereas a red flag could be maybe you're meeting with someone, a company that has an extremely low bid. And when you met with three other companies, they were all much higher than this other company that's it seems like they have their ducks in a row, but really they're just giving you a low bid in order to win the project. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the different communication tools and technology. So, this came up a lot during the conference, and there's all kinds of new technologies out there. And with the implementation of AI, many of the more successful companies are using AI to improve client communication or processes. So that way, it sometimes takes the guesswork out of things and they're not having to manually do everything. That could take up more of their time, and that could take away from them overseeing your project. So you want to make sure that they have a client portal for you to go on, or they send you weekly updates, something that's really a centralized communication tool. That way, during any given moment during your project, you can go on there and ask a question and double check, hey, what tile did I pick out or what appliance package did I go with, in case you can't recall and you're trying to look things up during your project. So, the red flag on this would be maybe you're working with a company and they're just sending you random text messages and scattered emails that maybe there's different people or contacts that you're hearing from, and that can cause a lot of just overall confusion, and that could potentially lead to some frustration for you during your project. The other benefit to working with a stable company is their long term relationships with vendors. So, this could be where they buy their appliances, where they get their flooring, all of the different vendors that they work with, countertop vendors. So the successful remodelers have established partnerships with reputable brands, stand behind their products, and they have consistent quality, and they'll also be able to be available for you in case there's potential issues down the road, which does happen from time to time. And that way you're able to get those issues resolved. So if you're working with a company that doesn't have those relationships, that could be an issue if, say, there's a warranty problem and you would be responsible for chasing those people down and tracking down, where did I buy that flooring from that I'm having, maybe the flooring's warping, and how can I get this fixed? So you want to make sure that the company that you're working with has those positive relationships with their vendors and they've worked with them before, and it's not just someone that they decided to select who's brand new and they've never worked with previously. So I hope these green flag and red flag warnings have been helpful to you and can get you thinking about what type of remodeling company you're looking for. And I'm going to provide you with a homeowner checklist. So you can go through this list. So when you're researching companies, you know that you're going to choose a stable, trusted remodeling company. So, a few of the questions that you could potentially ask a company and that they should be able to answer for you could be as simple as, how long has your company been in business? Obviously, a company that has longevity, that equals stability, which equals fewer risks. So, a company that's been in business a long time, they're able to overcome challenges easier than someone who's only been in business for 1 or 2 years. The other question you could ask is, do they have a clear, documented process? And if they're not able to easily explain their process, run far away because that is definitely a red flag for you. Another thing you could ask them would be, do they have any awards that they've won or special certifications? There are organizations out there that give these awards, like Qualified Remodeler or the Guild Master Awards for client service. Those really signal excellence, and that's the kind of company that you want to work with. So I will put a link in the episode description with these questions, and there's a few more on there that you can check out. And these are questions that the remodeler should be prepared to answer transparently and confidently. So hopefully, this can be a helpful guide for you as you're researching companies. That is a wrap on today's episode. And being at the top 500 live has definitely been a really good reminder about choosing a remodeler with experience, stability, and systems that help make a successful remodeling experience. And the other thing I'll leave you with is trusting your gut. And if something feels off, it probably is. And don't be afraid to ask questions at the beginning because you don't want to be caught in a situation that you're too far in and you feel trapped. So I hope you got some helpful tips today. And remember, if you're thinking about a remodel, be sure to subscribe to Remodeling Reinvented on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Thanks for listening.